Every streaming service out there is looking for that next Game of Thrones, and while Netflix has had a lot of big hits, say Stranger Things, The Witcher, Ozark, their next big fantasy epic is Shadow and Bone. And will this be the one to kind of culminate and say, hey, we're here to fill that spot? Let's talk about it. What's going on, buddy? Welcome back to a brand new Netflix TV review. Today I'm going to be discussing Shadow and Bone Season 1. And of course, my name is Zach. I am the Wolf of Geek Street. And if you guys are new here, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button because I love talking movies, TV, and games. If you like doing that too, this is the channel for you guys. Make sure as well to comment down below. Let me know your guys' thoughts. I'm really interested to hear your guys' thoughts on Shadow and Bone. Have you been looking forward to it? Have you read the book? Do you know anything about this show yet? Let's talk about it down there. Shadow and Bone is an 8-episode Season 1 series about the dark forces who conspire against an orphan map maker, Alina Starkov, when she unleashes an extraordinary power that could change the fate of her war-torn world. This stars the likes of Freddie Carter, Jesse Mee Lee, Archie Renix, Amita Suman, and Ben Barnes, and honestly, like, a big cast in here. A lot of these people I've never actually seen before and stuff, Ben Barnes being the most prominent one who I'm a major fan of, but Shadow and Bone's one of those series I'm always up for a new fantasy world to kind of dive into, and diving and sinking my teeth into Shadow and Bone, just within the first episode, you see the world, the mythology, everything they're building up to be this epic fantasy world that I've been kind of craving. I want new worlds like this. I love sinking my teeth into, and Shadow and Bone looks incredible from that first episode and continues to look incredible throughout the entire thing. Again, that world building, the magic, the creatures, the characters you're all introduced to. It's a discovery of new things, and just through our main character's eyes, Alina Starkov, the thing about her that's so interesting is she's kind of a fish out of water to certain elements of this all, and it's kind of a great perspective as a main character to follow her through because we're also a fish out of water to this entire world. And to frame the entire show about her and behind her back, while we have a bunch of other characters, is just excellent because as she discovers things, we're also discovering things for the first time and getting the same reaction she's getting, we're feeling as well. And easily, she's the best character about this entire show. Jesse Mee Lee is incredible in here, and I really fell for her as a character and in general just her performance. And going the rest of the characters in here, Freddie Carter is also pretty good. Archie Renix is also good. Amita Suman, also a big standout. But for me, the best standout of it all is Ben Barnes. I think Ben Barnes has just niched his way into Hollywood and has these excellent roles where he just eats up the scenery and he knows the assignment. He transforms into this character and it has a lot of different elements to him without getting into spoilers that I think many people are going to be happy and surprised with. And in general, very relatable. That's how a lot of characters are. You're going to find that one character to latch on into. And if you're a fan like me, like who loves playing RPG games and play with your friends and, you know, one person's the mage, one person's the huntress, one person's the gunslinger, you're gonna like get a lot of those elements in here. There's one group in particular that has like, there's the mastermind, there's the assassin type, the gunslinger, and you know, just seeing them kind of battle out and fight, it's pretty badass. And the action in general here is stunning too. There's not a lot of it, but when it's there, it's prevalent and it is awesome and really action-packed, and I dug it. Plus adding into there, of course, with a fantasy world like this, you know, while it's building up all this sorts of elements, the thing that's going to really lock us down and make us sink into this world is the excellent score that this show has, but also the production design, the costume design, all those elements are really the things, the technical level, that bring it to life and keep us enhanced inside Shadow and Bone. In general, for a first season, this does feel like a first season. It's setting up a lot of different elements, and by the end, you're sitting there like, yeah, I'm ready for the next ride. Let's get season 2 going right now. What I will say is that this first season, while enjoyable, not perfect. I found quite a couple of elements that kind of hinder it just a bit. And it sucks because I wasn't fully locked into this. I love the world, I love the characters, but the big thing that kind of gets me into these shows is the story in the end of the day. And for me, I found the story to be interesting, but not latching onto. And I don't know if that's because by the end of this season, I was fully invested, but the first couple of episodes, not rough to get through because I was interested, but nothing, I was kind of confused with like, okay, so what's the purpose? Like, why do they have to do this? Why are they doing that? Why are this? And, you know, while there's interesting characters in each storyline we're following through, some are better than others. Just like how Game of Thrones is and how many shows are that follow so many different characters. But this one felt it quite a bit. Even by the end of the story, I still didn't get the full point of it all. Like, I get certain characters' perspectives and like what the point of them is, but not how it's all going to tie in later down the road. And again, this is coming from someone who has not read the book, who's not versed in the book at all, so people who've read the book probably have a better understanding than I do. You have a point to be excited. I totally get that, because, you know, when it comes to me, when I'm reading a book or a comic and they adapt it, I'm like, okay, there's so much stuff to be excited about, guys. That's what the show really much is. It's not as deep as I wanted it to be. It's not as meaty as I needed it to be. You know, there are some great character moments. There's some great mythology and world building to all of it. Then that is the deep part, but it's the story that I was really needing to sink me in. But in the end of the day, it's still enjoyable. It's an entertaining show, and honestly, for a first season for a fantasy show, sometimes these are really hit or miss. This is one that hit. It grabbed my attention. It locked me into this world. I'm invested now. And that's more than I can say for a lot of other fantasy shows that have tried to come to life and bring it to life. It mixed well. And it didn't feel like a typical YA show that we're diving into. It's mature. It's got some harsh elements to it and some bloody moments. But the action's great. The characters are interesting, and especially Starkov herself is easily the best part about the entire show. And in general, the world, the mythology, all that stuff that it really built about makes me excited to see where the season 2 can take this. I just hope it latches on and contains a more focused story point for what the end game of this show is. As with every other show, the first season is supposed to establish that. I didn't fully feel that in here. And you know, that's coming from someone who watches Walking Dead, who pretty much has not had a focus for the last couple of years. But in a sense, the focus is surviving. I'm trying to figure out what this one is still. But with all that said, guys, I am going to give Shadow and Bone a B. Still a very enjoyable first season. I'm so excited to hear your guys' thoughts down below, especially if you guys got to check out the books before this show. It's going to be interesting to hear your guys' thoughts. Thank you once again for clicking on this. Make sure to head on over to Sandwich on Films on how to see films early. And of course, it's a big thing to you and a big thing to my Patreon supporters, because without you, I wouldn't be able to do. So of course, until next time, stay classy.